Hey guys, this is Fergal from PokerVIP. We are back with the two-part series over on Winner Poker. This is a new site I've just set up an account on. It's part of the iPoker network, and I have to say it has one of, if not the most generous first deposit bonuses that I have ever seen. It matches up to 250% on your first deposit, and that is with so that's up to €1,500. So I've put in €600 and I will be able to match up to €1,500 back, which is pretty sick. Okay, we are off to a decent start here. Didn't realize how short this guy is. Let's go smaller. And my assumption is that I stack this guy pretty much 100% of the time here, assuming that we have the best hand here, but guessing that we do. Classic. Sorry, excuse me. We did have the best hand, but unfortunately the river gets him there. But hey, we got our money in good, that's all that we can do. Sorry, excuse me. I have picked up a little bit of a cough, as you can tell. You'll have to bear with it throughout the duration of the video, unfortunately. But anyway, going back, so we get 35% rate back through PokerVIP, as well as that 250% first deposit bonus. So that is pretty sick value all around. Over on the right table, we're going to flatten position here at the suited ace, and on the left table, we decided to check back here. Getting 3 streets of value will be quite tricky. So we are going to start betting for value ourselves now, though. And we are going to follow through with the second barrel here as well. We can get called by some worse ace-x, and he can even call with some 7x, maybe some hero calls with, you know, pocket 8s, pocket 9s, those kinds of things. So we're not going to size it too large. We're going to go around half pot just to look to get paid by those types of hands, which we do. Nice. And we get called by the ace and the 8. Okay. Slightly different scenario here. We have a much stronger ace, so we're ahead of much more ace-x, so we're just going to be bet jamming here versus a short stacker. One thing I like is that speed poker runs on a lot of sites. We don't get speed poker running on iPoker. It does seem to run around the clock for the most part. I'm currently playing at quite an off-peak time, so the pool isn't exactly enormous, but we still have a pool running, and that's the main thing, right? Okay, 9-5, nothing we're going to be doing here, but just going for the optimistic check fold. 9-7 offsuit, we are going to go for the open. Unfortunately, the short stacker just rips it in without nary a thought. We just let that one go, obviously. It's still going to be a profitable steal all round, though. And Queen 10 suited, and you know we're opening this. You know it. If you've watched any of my videos in the past, we're all about the Queen 10 suited. But I've only been playing just for literally just a couple of minutes. I started playing just a few minutes before I started recording, just making sure that I had everything set up the way I wanted. Overall, the pool seems, you know, first impressions are it's weak, but that's not, you know, obviously that's not a shocker. It's 20 NL after all, but they do seem weaker than the average 20 NL pool. Obviously, it's a very small sample. I'm going to start this off with a single check call. I would like if we had a diamond on the board, but we can't have it all. We do have a pair, though. We are going to start it off with a check call. If he barrels again and he chooses a similar sizing, I think we just let this one go, though. So he does go quite big. We're getting bluffed here sometimes, sure, but, you know, we're just going to be behind a very large percentage as well. So, yeah, we're just going to go for the check fold. And one thing I have to say about Winner is I've gotten onto the support just a couple of times before I made my deposit, just confirming the bonuses and stuff like that, and I have to say the support is one of the best, if not the best, that I've ever encountered on a poker room, to be perfectly honest. Poker rooms in general, they can be reasonably hit and miss when it comes to support. Now, normally I don't get in touch with support that often, so it's not a big thing for me, I don't really care. But I was very impressed with the speed that we were getting responses with, I have to say. They were very, very good overall. Okay, are we going to peel here? Yes, we are. 9 Not an ideal flop, of course. I don't really want to start turning this into a bluff. It's possible we could fold out some pocket pairs, but I think trying to get this hand to showdown has a lot of merit as well. Let's hope that this dude checks back. And just we bink the 5 in the river. That's obviously the dream. Obviously the dream. Jack 9 offsuit, let's go for a cheeky little open in the cutoff, or technically under the gun, given that this is only 4-handed. Alright, so now it's a case of whether we want to value bet and try to get called by ace highs, or whether we just want to take our showdown value. And see, when it does go check, we do lose a reasonable percentage of the time, sure, but I don't think we're ever going to get a pocket pair to fold here, ever. So now it's a case, do we win enough here to call? I think we are going to make the call. Let's see what he has here. He does it the 10s. Nice value bet. I kind of wanted, he seems to be multi-tabling. I bumped this into this guy quite a lot. So I wanted to get a little bit of a feel for how he is playing and what kind of hands he's 3-betting. So that was a bit of a reason behind that call as well. I kind of wanted to see it. Just there's no harm in getting a bit of a hold on your regulars early on. We have overs and a good shot to the Nutter Butters and the backdoor heart draw. We are going to call here 1 street. This 20-cent bet seems really, really weak. I'm going to go for the raise here. And we are going to follow through on most rivers. We do not have to though, we just take it down without a fight. No harm, no fuss. We don't mind that at all. Suited king versus a short stacker kind of sucks. We'd be defending versus a min open. Getting that extra big blind, especially given that he's short stacked, we're just not really getting the right implied price to be playing this kind of hand against him, unfortunately. Sorry, excuse me. I've had this cough for about 4 weeks now, which is really, really frustrating. Alright, that's this guy being short stacked is kind of annoying. We are still going to ISO it up. We get 2 callers and the board rolls off ace high. I definitely don't want to be like check calling versus these kinds of guys. Because if we check call, we're kind of committed to going with it. So I'm just going to bet small here. Normally I'm really not a believer in these kinds of like information bets, but in this sort of spot where we're up against 2 short stackers and checking, like check folding really doesn't appeal to me because we just have the best hand a lot here. But check calling is kind of awful as well because it doesn't really help narrow this guy's range at all, or Donaldinho if he had continued. And only most turn cards are bad for us, so betting small and looking to take down the pot at a cheap price seems pretty good to me. Unfortunately, it didn't go to plan. So we have an open ender here, and we are going to follow through here again with another bet. Ideally, this guy just folds. I don't think we're getting a fold through here very frequently. The ace-8 certainly wasn't going to be folding there, so that's cost us a little bit. So we're now down. I don't have auto top up on, I need to get that sorted. But we are now down money. We are going to need to get that resolved ASAP. I made it €20 here by mistake. That was not my intent at all. I thought I made it like 340 to go. But hey, oh, the 5 on the river. That was not an intent. That was not an intentional bet at all on my part. I just misclicked. Whoops. Whoops-a-daisies. But hey, I mean, we get it in a flip. Whatever. We're not going to worry too much about it. I obviously added an extra 0 or something like that when I was typing in my bet size and just maxed it out. But hey, as I said, I'm not going to worry too much about it. So that's 2 times that we've been 2-outed on the river so far in this video. Not going well at all. And there are people that say that, you know, poker sites rig accounts and new accounts and stuff like that. People are just so full of it. Alright, 6-8 suited over here. We will likely be playing it, depending on the action before us. Depending on the action before us. And Queen Jack suited, absolutely bringing this in for an open from the cutoff. Okay, so we're down one full stack exactly. I'm pretty sure that was a full stack that we lost there. If it wasn't, it was close to it. So we're going to treat it as down a full stack though. And Noddy's buddy just rips it in for the €7. We can't call, unfortunately. Ace is ace and an ace. Let's go. Second time we've been dealt aces this session. Oh, and we're getting 3-bet. And we're getting 3-bet. We will be 4-betting. And the ace jack, this €15 short stacker, semi-short stacker, just rips it in. Alright, if this guy has flopped a set, we are losing chunks. Actually, I'm going to start this off with a check, actually. If he has a hand like jacks or queens, we don't want him to be able to just fold those hands. And we have the Nutter Butters. Hopefully his jacks or queens with this flush as well. That'd be nice. The way I've kind of played this hand, it's strange that I didn't bet at any point here. If he's in any way of a thinking player, it's kind of most people would be betting aces on that flop, or certainly on the turn. And same goes for kings as well. So it's kind of an unusual spot. So I was hoping he might want to look me up, but hey, we win a little bit of a pot. We'll take it. Always nice to get a 4-bet in and get called with the aces, and for them to hold the course. Would have been nice for him to have taken a stab at it at some point, though. We have a set. That's exciting. Let's start this off with a wager. And we take it down. Not the worst case scenario, but obviously not what we wanted. Sorry guys, sorry about this. I've been putting off doing the videos for as long as possible, but I just gotta get on with it. This cough has no sign of letting up, unfortunately. Alright, we flop top pair with a gut shot over on the right table. Not the worst flop in the world for the 10-8 offsuit. We got raised. We weren't looking to get raised on this flop, but we're certainly not folding. We now have 2 pair. Well, that's kind of cool. We take the lead versus, like, you know, ace 10, king 10, stuff like that. We're still behind sets. He can definitely have sets. I'm not convinced if people are guaranteeing to be betting their sets. He can have some flop straights, but they're obviously fairly heavily blocked. He can be turning some 7x into a bluff that's now gotten there, but we're going to call anyway. Hopefully this goes check-check. We don't want to face another bet. We did not want to face another bet. Team. Alright, we're going to let this one go. We're all in with the jack and the jack. Same dude here, Crostinator, that we just had that rather largish pot with. Oh, we'll just run it into the aces. Let's see if we can get there. How does the short stacker just wake up with aces there? That's so sick. That is sick. So far this session has been a little bit of a train wreck. I'm okay though, I'm happy with how we're playing, that's the main thing obviously. Jacks there is obviously a complete trivial get, and the only question is whether we want to flash or whether we want to jam over the original 3-better. That's the only thing that's up for debate there. We're obviously never folding jacks there, so we're not going to feel too bad. The 10-8 hand is definitely up for debate. That's a hand I am going to go back on and do a little bit of analysis. I'm not entirely sure about my fold, or whether we should even have gotten to the river there. We're obviously facing a rather large chunk of strength. Okay, we're going to have a bet here with our top pair. We check the flop here. And now at the board, there's too many bad cards for us on the river. We get raised here, which just sucks. We get raised as well by a player that I perceive to be a reasonably competent reg as well. So that's kind of annoying. So we're down, I think, around about €30 for the session so far. Definitely not what we wanted, but as I said, we're happy with how we're playing. That's all that we're going to care about. We don't really mind too much about the results. Okay, very, very safe board. But that means that I don't expect him to fold anything that we are ahead of. So we're going to start this off with a check back. We do pick up a good shot. I'm going to have a wager now. Our bet is a little bit more credible when this jack rolls off. We've got a lot more jack X than we do anything else here. We get called quite quickly. We are not going to wager any further. We're going to defend our 3-bet here versus Crastinator, and we are not planning on folding this on many runouts. We're going to have a wager now ourselves. You want to make sure that we're charging hands like 9s, 10s, jacks, queens, those types of things. I'm going to go large here and try to make it look like a bluff. We shouldn't have much 7x here. So I couldn't very confidently... Oh, wow. I was going to say I was going to be pretty confident about assigning him a pocket parry kind of range. I mean, we're not folding here, but we're not happy about this at all. And he has the 10-7. Oh, my word. Oh, my word. I wasn't expecting him to have much 7x. Obviously, he's 3-betting quite ferociously, though. We are going to be making some adjustments versus you, Mr. Crastinator. We are going to be making some adjustments. We are getting absolutely decimated so far today. My word. Maybe that river is... Maybe we can consider folding there. Versus a guy, though, that, as I said, we have perceived to be, you know, aggressive based on what we've seen on the pool so far. I'm not sure, like, I mean, when we choose our sizing, it makes it very difficult to fold, of course. Like, we're getting, like, he's got less than a min raise behind. But our sizing is potentially up for debate, though, that is for sure. That's another one that we're going to put in the mark box. That is another one for the analysis box later on. Alright, we're going to win the next all-in. I can feel it. A7 suited here. We're going to bring it in for a 3-bet. Versus another one of the regular looking players, Sun Shaolin. I'm not sure if I pronounced that even remotely correctly, but yeah, that's my attempt. We're going to defend the flop here, or defend our big blind here with the 5s. Okay, flop for the pocket 10s. Excellent turn for the pocket 10s. I meant to make that 60 cents, not min raised. And what do we get called by? We get called by the pocket kings. Probably missed some value there by checking the turn. The reason I checked the turn was because I was expecting him to continue barreling with his... overpairs. Given that it's kind of hard for us to have a 7 there, so he's afraid of exactly one combo of 7s and pocket 10s. And I mean, maybe some 7x, but in general, I'm not going to have too much 7x there. Pretty nice turn, though. We'll take it. We will take it. Pocket 6s, easy open. Definitely not afraid of this this ace. I'd be expecting a player as aggressive as this guy to be 3-betting a lot of his ace X. So we're gonna get this hand to showdown where we can, and we are ahead. He had the king queen, so I'm actually kind of surprised that he didn't 3-bet there. Interesting flop for the ace queen. We have the nut no pair. I don't really want to bet here. If we bet, we're kind of committed to calling off versus this guy, which seems to be a lot of short stacking weak players in this pool. So it's important to know how we are going to adjust against them and not c-betting these kinds of boards. Whereas if he was full stacked, I think c-betting is perfectly fine. We're just going to take our showdown here, though. We had him in a lot of trouble and he got there in the turn, unfortunately, but I'm okay with how he played that overall. A bet on the flop will probably get that kind of hand to fold, but again, we only have to fade 3 outs throughout. And I wasn't planning on necessarily folding, like I wasn't exactly just checking back to let that go. It's just betting doesn't really accomplish much that I wanted to accomplish. We're never going to get a short stacker to fold any pair at all. And I mean, maybe he calls us somewhere, say size and stuff like that. That's possible, but I'm okay with just taking our showdown there where we can. And if we improve, then looking for value. Seems like a fine strategy to me. Ace queen versus this just open rip. Since we've seen people doing this so often, I'm actually going to go with it here. I want to see, like, I think there's a reasonable chance he's doing this with worse ace X. And if we're flipping versus a pair, then whatever, so be it. And he just has the ace and the king. Wonderful news. Diamond. Any diamonds about, or tens? Nope. So we lose whatever, a €7 flip. That's not the end of the world, obviously. Those kinds of overbet jams like that, generally I would imagine most players will show up with worse ace X there a reasonable chunk of the time, as well as a lot of pocket pairs and stuff like that. But if we include some combos of worse ace X and even some hands like king queen suited and stuff like that, we have a pretty profitable call there all around on our hands. Alright, we're going to fire one and done here on this board now. This is a little bit different. This guy is a little bit deeper, so by betting here compared to the previous spot, we're not exactly committing ourselves in this spot. And we still have a decent chunk of fold equity versus this guy's overall range. As I said, it was very much a one and done bet, so we're just going to check this back and fold if he wagers the river. Versus a short stacker, not really too much that we're able to do with the raggedy ace in the small blind. Okay, we flop a set again. We're going to be looking to play a pot. Obviously not the best of boards to be having a set on. There are a lot of potential... Now there's flushes out there as well. There was a lot of potential draws, so the heart draws have gotten there, of course. We are going to continue firing here. Probably should have sized this up a little bit, actually. I think I made this too small. We get the job done, though, and not necessarily that we wanted to get folds there. I mean, we can still get called by worse hands there, especially hands that have picked up the flush draw. But yeah, we don't mind. We don't mind just taking it down there, and then we definitely didn't want to get raised after we bet. But yeah. Okay, ace deuce suited. We will be ISOing versus the button. We're happy to play a potted position here versus Crastinator. Not really the flop that we wanted to see at all. In a multi-way pot here, we're going to be struggling to realize any equity here at all. Ace-7 suited, we will absolutely be bringing in for an open, as we will the jack and the jack. I'm going to start this off with a c-bet with the jacks. We can get called by 9x, some heart draws. Sure, he's going to have a queen sometimes, absolutely, but, you know, he's also going to have chunks of hands that aren't, and we are ahead of a decent amount of them, and we can get called by a reasonable amount of worse hands with the small flop c-bet, because when we c-bet that flop, you know, we're going to be c-betting it pretty wide. King Jack here, we're happy to get this to showdown if we can. Betting, we're never going to get called by any worse hands. And we do win a reasonable amount of the time, so we'll take that victory. Ace Queen of blue. Hopefully this guy just rips it in, which he does. We're obviously crushing this guy's overall jamming range for 9 big blinds. Can we have a hold? Nice. So we win our first. I think that's our first all-in that we've won. Obviously not the one that we wanted to win, but hey, we'll take the wins where we can get them, right? We'll take the wins where we can get them. 10-5 suited, we will defend our big blind versus any reasonable open. We flop top pair, not too shabby. Don't really want to give away a free river here. We get called and we see the heart roll off, which is kind of grim. And okay, maybe not so bad. Maybe not so bad. Another unfortunate flop for us. I think the defend is absolutely fine, blind versus blind. We have suited cards with, you know, in position, getting 3-1 on our money, or 2-1 on our money rather. Definitely a defend, but just an unfortunate flop again. But hey. So this is going to be a 2-part series. We're coming to the end of part 1 now. We are going to have to resolve these results. As it currently stands, we're down in around €50. So we're down about 2.5 buy-ins in a fairly short period of time, which obviously is far from ideal. But I have every faith in us that we'll be able to recoup those losses in part 2. But part 1 isn't finished just yet. We will be able to get another few hands in. Although the pool looks like it may have eased off a little bit. We're down to a fairly small number of players, but hey, we'll see if we can keep it going. We still have enough to make a game. It just means that we're going to be waiting to be dealt in every now and again. And actually, we're coming up to the half-hour point anyway. We might just call it a day there. So, as I said, we're down just over €50, €51. And we'll be back for part 2 soon. We will hopefully be able to get that recouped. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you have enjoyed it. And we'll be back soon, as I said. Take care and have a good day.